feud. I'm joined here by the chairman of the House Committee on Intelligence, Congressman Devin Nunes of California. Congressman, it's great to have you here. Thank you so much.
It's good to be here.
Usually you're out in California, so it's nice to have you here in person. Let's start with President Trump's visit to the CIA. That's an organization that you know very well. An aide to John Brennan, who was the CIA director until Friday, put out an statement. It said, quote, "Former CIA Director Brennan is deeply saddened and angered at Donald Trump's despicable display of self-aggrandizement in front of the CIA's memorial wall of agency heroes. Brennan says that Trump should be ashamed of himself." You're the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. What did you make of the speech and of Brennan's response to it?
Well, I found out a few days ago that Donald Trump was planning on going to the agency to swear in Mike Pompeo because there had been an agreement in the Senate that all the national security folks would be approved on the first day, and that didn't happen. So I think it's important to remember that Donald Trump had scheduled that in advance in order to swear in Mike Pompeo. Well, his schedule was already planned. I don't think he wanted to change his schedule, so he went out there, met with the CIA. I think he was briefed, and the agents that were there, the CIA employees, they were excited to be there. And in fact, I spoke to a few last night who I thought maybe were there, so I wanted to get their opinion on what they thought. And they said, we didn't get a chance to go because it sold out so quickly.
Yeah, there was a lottery for seats there. Like 400 people got seats.
Yeah.
A lot of people wanted to go.
And he was received well. So I think that you're going to see at the highest level of the past administration, at that level, I think Donald Trump had a lot of problems with, and I don't blame him for having a lot of problems. There were a lot of leaks. So
you think that John Brennan's response and also just how he's comported himself, you have an issue with it?
Well, look, the former director is entitled to his own opinion, but the fact remains that there were a lot of leaks that occurred over the course of the last 60 to 90 days before this election that most people can attribute back to somewhere within either the Obama administration directly or the intelligence community. But what people are not talking about, which I thought Donald Trump said some things that were really important yesterday. He showed an understanding that the CIA is the tip of the spear. When the CIA gets things right, fewer people will die. He called radical Islamic terrorists. He said that they're going to go out and kill the jihadists around the world. They're going to be eliminated. Those were major statements that he made yesterday that nobody's covering.
And what do you make, just to note, just for our viewers, we believe that Mike Pompeo will be voted on in the Senate to be CIA director tomorrow evening, Monday evening, and it looks as though he will clear, he will be confirmed. Mm-hmm. What do you make of the criticism that standing in front of the memorial wall, talking about crowd sizes, that was inappropriate?
Look, Donald Trump is a citizen politician. He's really enjoying what he's doing. He's going to take the media on every single day. He's never been in politics, and I think you're going to see more of this. And I've seen him on the campaign trail. He was just having a good time. Matter of fact, this past week, inauguration week, he was showing up to events that he wasn't even scheduled to be at. I was at a lunch. It was supposed to be a small lunch, and he stayed for 45 minutes and talked and had a good time. And so, I think he was just out there to show support for the agency, and of course, like Donald Trump often does, he's a very smart guy, and he starts to talk about a lot of different things and has fun.
Just to bring this up one more time, because I don't think this point of view has been adequately reflected in the public, especially by people like you, who are part of the intelligence community in a sense, being chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. There is this feud, and has been this feud, between leaders of the intelligence community in the Obama administration and President Trump. And you think that President Trump in some ways has gotten a bad rap on it, that some of these leaders have been unfair to him?
Well, we don't know where the leaks came from.
I broke the story, and I can tell you John Brennan had nothing to do with it. Well,
but there were a lot of leaks that came, and it's not just on the last story. I mean, this goes back for 90 days. And so, look, we'll, as we always do, we'll look into the leaks. We'll see if we find something. Who knows?
Let's talk about some of these intelligence issues with Mike Pompeo, because Senator Bernie Sanders is planning to oppose him, and some Democrats have raised concerns. In an op-ed Pompeo wrote, that he co-authored, he wrote, quote, "Congress should pass a law reestablishing collection of all metadata and combing it with publicly available financial and lifestyle information into a comprehensive, searchable database." That might sound alarming to some people.
Yeah, so I don't know when that statement was made, but as you know, we passed legislation to fix the metadata program. It was largely bipartisan. Mike Pompeo took part of that in that, voted for it. It passed overwhelmingly in the House and Senate. So I don't think we're going to go back and revisit the metadata issue. I think it's working well.
What about this lifestyle information thing? Is that something that gets discussed in intelligence circles?
Well, if you look at lifestyle of terrorists, any foreign or abroad, absolutely. But on the American people, no.
I want to also ask about the fact that Obamacare, you heard Chuck Schumer saying in the previous interview that he thinks the Democrats have had a good couple weeks with Obamacare because Republicans, in his view, are in a pickle, in his words, because Republicans don't know what to replace Obamacare with because so many aspects of Obamacare are popular. This is an issue that's important to you. What will replace Obamacare?
Yeah, so I look at it in three buckets. Healthcare is very difficult in this country to get right. So there's going to be what the administration can do with Obamacare first. That's kind of one bucket. You're going to have the bucket on what we can do with the reconciliation process, which requires 50 votes plus one in the Senate. And then you will have longer-term issues that have to be dealt with that need 60 votes in the Senate. So a lot of what we're dealing with here is the way the Senate is structured, and that's why you're hearing. There are a lot of good plans out there. I think the big difference between what the Republicans want to do and the Democrats. Democrats want your health care to be run right here in Washington. We want the individual to have health care. And we want every American to have access to health care, and we want that health care to be delivered locally, not by big government here in Washington, D.C., because then you end up with constituents like you see out in California, where we have no specialists who will see our Medi-Cal patients or our Obamacare patients. And that's not good.
Let me ask you a question about this outstanding issue that there's still the FBI investigation into whether associates of President Trump had contacts with the Kremlin. There's a New York Times story talking about Paul Manafort, the former campaign chairman, Roger Stone, a longtime Trump confidant, Carter Page, a former foreign policy advisor. What can you tell us about this investigation, these intercepted communications?
Well, I mean, look, they would have to notify me. They should, if that was the case. At some point. We have not heard that. And I would say that we take our job of oversight very seriously on the Intelligence Committee. We will work in a bipartisan manner. We've requested a lot of the intel. We've requested all of the intelligence that went into the report that was issued here a couple weeks ago. We have yet to get that information. They made it available to us on Thursday, where we had to go out to the CIA in order to look at it. That's not what we asked for. We want the information at the committee so that we can comb through it, so we can get to the bottom of this intelligence report, whether it was put together properly or not.
So who's holding it up? Is it the CIA? Is it the Director of National Intelligence?
Well, it was the Obama administration who hadn't given it to us, and they only made it available to us if we went out to the agency to see it in person. So that's not what we requested. We requested to have that delivered to the Congress so that we could comb through the data to really understand what went into this report. And clearly, we will look at anything and everything, and we'll follow the facts where they lead.
Mr. Nunes, it's always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You were just sworn in. It was a slightly smaller ceremony, but with your family to be a member of Congress, it's always good to have you on the show. Thanks for